In golf, the main target is to get the little white ball into the hole. How do you get that ball into the hole? Well, you putt it into the hole. And to putt it into the hole consistently and every time, you need to have a good stroke. Stroke is part of the putting mechanics. This is a documentary about the mechanics of putting. I conducted an interview with the head golf pro at Alexandria Sporting Club golf course, Chris Murray. He's a putting expert. Here's what he had to say about the putting stroke and putting mechanics. Hey guys, so here we're with Chris Murray, the head pro at Alexandria Sporting Club golf course. We're gonna ask him a couple of questions as he seems to be a pretty good expert about putting. So
Cool.
Chris, how are you?
No, good on you, Adam.
Yeah, great.
How's the golf coming along?
Yeah, pretty good.
Getting there, right?
Alright.
Okay.
So first of all, can you please explain the putting stroke?
Okay, so basically what we want to start with the whole point of the putting stroke is to get the ball rolling in the hole, right?
Yeah, but
So in order to do that, you have to have an efficient stroke and a stroke you can repeat consistently on the golf course. So as you all know, golf is played over 18 holes, 18 greens, so you have to be able to putt on every single hole. Now the putting stroke starts off with basically this. We can talk about how we want the ball to get a pure roll off the face, and the only way we can do that is by getting the ball rolling on a symmetric axis.
yeah.
Now, how do you do that? Well, you have to take the club back straight, make sure to hit the ball in the center of the club and get the ball rolling straight on a symmetric axis. Now, a symmetric axis is basically topspin on the ball. Now, anything else in golf, you want to apply backspin on the ball because you want the ball to stop as fast as
Spin.
possible. Exactly. Now, with the putting stroke, we want the ball to roll as far as possible. Okay. Now, combined with the stroke, we're going to go, if we can, into your second question.
Yeah.
That has to do with the setup of the stroke. Now, in the setup, we have to make sure that our feet are parallel with our shoulders, combined with the hands nice and soft on the club, and then head or eye line over the ball.
Yeah.
Now, the stroke is only going to work once the setup is
Perfect.
functional and perfect. Exactly. Now, with the setup, even before we stroke the ball, it all has to do with weight distribution. But before we get to that, I just want to point out that the whole point of putting, or the whole putting setup, is actually preference.
Yeah.
So that's why you get one of the best putters of all time, Jack Nicklaus. I mean, he looked like a hunchback
Yeah.
when he played the ball, because he wanted to be as close to the ball as possible. Because he just felt the closer his eyes are to the ball, the better line he's going to see on the ball, and the better he's going to see the club stroking the ball. Nowadays, you get guys standing so upright, like Adam Scott nowadays.
Yeah.
I mean, exactly. He's dead up straight, and his eye line is probably 2 feet higher than where Jack Nicklaus was 40 years ago.
Still works for him.
It still works. That's why I said putting is all about preference. But doesn't matter who you are or what type of putting stroke you do have, the whole point still is to get that ball rolling on symmetric axis.
Yeah.
Now, if you go back let's go back 1930s, 1940s. That was before any evolution took place in golf. That was before there was a guy called Solheim Karsten. He founded Ping, one of the biggest brands in golf at the moment. Now, what he recognized was in the putting stroke, especially, was that a lot of people struggle to get the ball starting on a straight line. So most of them, either their shoulders, they struggle, because for a beginner golfer, it's very difficult to have a perfect putting stroke. So obviously, most of them are going to start off shaky, going to start off with bad strokes, bad ball rolls, bad outcomes in the end. So what Solheim Karsten saw was that he had an idea of a putter he made that could get the ball starting rolling perfectly every time. Now, the only thing he changed before that was he added weight on the toe and the heel of the putter. Adam, so here we have the first ever, how can I say, modern standard putter that we all use these days. Now, before this putter, if I can just show you around this putter, okay? So before this putter came out, all of them were basically flat as butter knives.
Yeah.
And what Solheim Karsten saw was that it was very difficult to hit the ball straight with a putter like that, because there was no balance in the putter. So if I hold this putter like this, okay, as you can see, this toe is pointing up,
Yeah.
where all of the previous models, if you balance it on your finger like this, it was down like this. So there was no, we call this toe to heel balance. There was nothing like that prior to 1959.
Yeah.
Now, that's why Solheim Karsten was, I mean, we call him the godfather of golf, because if it wasn't for him, we all would have still been struggling
Yeah.
putting the game. Exactly. Now, what this putter does in the stroke is that it keeps the face level, square as we hit the ball. Now, the putting stroke is like a clock. We call it the pendulum effect.
Yeah.
Now, if you go and look at the old clocks in the olden days, the ones that you get in your house, down the hallway in those big boxes,
Yeah.
you would find there was always like a copper arm ticking up and down. Now, that's exactly what we want to interpret in a putting stroke. Okay, it's basically up and down ticking motion, and that's what we want to mimic. Okay, because we want the same speed going back and the same speed going through. Now, the second thing in the putting stroke is that we want to hit the center of the face. Okay, and the only way we can do that is by having the putter going straight back and straight through, as I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
But in order to do that, you can't really take the putter far back as we want. Okay, that's why you see all of the tour professional players, they have a very short backswing and a long stroke.
Jordan Spieth.
Exactly, like Jordan Spieth.
One
I
of the
mean,
best
Tiger
putters in
Woods
the
as
world.
well.
Yeah.
They did the same way. Because it's very difficult if you have a big stroke to make sure that you're going to get it in the center every single
Might
time.
hit the top of the face.
Exactly.
Unpredictable.
That's also why Solheim Karsten added this this cavity at the back. Okay, that is so that you don't have to hit the ball that hard anymore. This cavity at the back, or this hole, it creates the power you need in the stroke. So thanks to this, everything in putting got easier. Now it's just up to the player to go and find his own specific way how to play this club.
Yeah.
Okay, but in all, the basic standard setup, like I mentioned earlier, was just to have your feet shoulder width apart, everything aligned towards the hole. So, but I mean your toes are pointing to the hole, shoulders are pointing to the hole, and the club face is pointing to the hole. Second thing we want is that we want to grip the club with soft hands. How you hold the club is all up to you.
Yeah.
You get people who grip it with an overlap. You get people who grip it double overlap, and that's 2 fingers over 2 fingers. And then you get people like me, I use a claw, so I almost hold it like a pencil as I play the ball.
Yeah.
And then you get people with their left hand below their right, which is not standard in golf, as everybody knows. I mean, you know
I
that.
putt like that.
Adam putts like that, but normally you would always have your left on top of your right. But with the left hand below the right hand, this forces you to not break your wrists at
Use your
impact. Exactly.
arms and shoulders.
Because the only thing that we want to move in the putting stroke is basically the shoulders and the arms.
Yep.
Exactly. Now, if we go and break our hands as we turn back and forth in our putting stroke, that's going to open the club face open. It's going to open it up, or it's going to close it up, and that's not what we want. We just want
to produce pure roll.
exactly. That's a metric axis roll we want. Can only be produced once we have that straight back, straight through, and only the arms and shoulders moving.
Yep.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add?
Nope. Thank you for your time, Chris.
Perfect, Adam. Thank you so
As
much.
Chris, the head pro at Alexandria Sporting Club Golf Course, said, putting is all about preference. The following pictures will show some of the world's best putters and some of generally the world's best players. You'll see that not all of them use the same method. For example, Adam Scott, as Chris said, he stands more upright and over the ball. Someone like Jordan Spieth stands more closer to the ball and feels like his eyes can be more on the ball. Adam Scott is one of the world's best putters. As can be seen in this picture, he uses the claw grip. This is what he's most comfortable with. In this grip, you grip the grip of the club as if it's a pencil. Another thing that can be noted is his upper body. It's more standing up. This is pretty different, as most players like to have their lower body a bit more downwards so their eyes are on the ball and they feel like they're riding the ball so they can start it better online. But Adam Scott's different. Now, here's a picture of Jordan Spieth, arguably the world's best putter. Different to Adam Scott, his body is more leaning downwards. This helps him start the ball online, and generally, this is what he's comfortable with. Now, here's a picture of world number one Dustin Johnson's putting stroke. As can be seen, his putter head after impact and at the end of his putting stroke is pointed upwards. He feels like this helps him get a more pure roll on the ball and generally helps him hold more putts. Now we have a picture of Sergio Garcia, the Masters champ, putter head at the end of the stroke. Many say that the reason he won the Masters was because of his amazing putting. As can be seen, his putter head is more level to the ground and closer to the ground. This is different to Dustin Johnson. Thank you for watching.